course, in classic Katie trying to film a YouTube video fashion, there is a lot of noise outside today, including someone mowing the lawn. And that, in addition to my very yellow looking matcha latte, it's just adding up to be quite the day. And I hope you can't hear my toilet running in the background because it's broken. Okay, welcome to where the magic happens. This is my homepage on Notion. I just call it to do because that's really in essence what all of this is. You'll probably find that my Notion setup is much more functional over beautiful. Like, I don't really know how everybody sets theirs up to be so pretty, but this is how I do it. I've currently got just this banana leaf background because I like it, and I like to add affirmations or inspiring quotes, as cheesy as that is, to the top of my page. That's the first thing that I see in the morning. So right now I just have a little call out that says, "You are capable of everything you dream of," and I hope you watching believe that too about yourself, not of me. Well, maybe both. Scrolling down, I've got sort of a main menu at the top here. So you'll see I've got recurring tasks, table of contents. These are both just little toggle lists. So my recurring tasks are things that I add to my kind of like daily to-dos at the beginning of the week when I'm setting it up. So because I post TikToks on like a scheduled basis for Creatorly, I just make that as like a little reminder for myself because I don't really have a way to schedule that right now. And adding the Spotify widget to the blog post for the podcast that goes up each week. So whatever. Doesn't really matter what this is. The point is I have stuff that I do every week. And so I'll just toggle this down and then I will not do that. I'll select them and just copy and paste them to wherever they need to go. I also just have a table of contents here. So you'll notice as we get going that I have a lot of stuff on this to-do page. So if I ever need to jump to a specific part of the page, then I can easily do that through the table of contents. Next, I've just got a link to some of my most frequently used pages, my content calendar, and my little idea dump / like notebook page. Okay, so let's get into the actual content of it. So you'll see that I kind of have this set up in two columns. I have a task master list, which also includes a July goals section, and I have a notes section. So I've got a lot of different places where I store random notes, but this is kind of the initial dumping ground where I just put stuff that I don't want to forget, and then later on when I have a minute, I'll actually sort through and figure out, okay, do I need to take action on this now, or should I put it somewhere else where I can find it later? On the right hand side, you'll see that we have spots for tasks each day of the week. So it's Friday when I'm filming this, so you can see Monday is satisfyingly all checked off. The same with Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And Friday, you can see that I still have Film Notion Tour on my list and like a few other things. I definitely don't always finish everything each day, but basically if I would have like, let's say a remaining task that I didn't finish on Thursday, then I would just take it and drag it over to Friday, which is how my Fridays end up being kind of busy. But anyway, so it goes. Pretty much my process for this is when I'm brainstorming what I need to do in an upcoming week, I will add a lot of stuff to the task master list. And then as I'm planning what my week is going to look like, I'll start dragging that stuff over. So, okay, on Monday, I'm going to edit this episode or whatever, and then I have it for that specific day. I like to keep some goals here just so I always remember what are my overarching goals for this coming month, week, whatever, so that I kind of am able to figure out what my to-do list should look like based on those goals. So as you can see, there's stuff that is incomplete for July, so we'll see how that goes. That's just life. Okay, so this is what I would call kind of my main area of my to-do list homepage. So scrolling past that, we start to get into stuff that I use really, really frequently, but isn't necessarily my like, okay, what do I need to see first when I open this up? Also, I recognize probably a lot of people would do this over various pages, but I find rather than having to like click around, I just scroll between stuff, and that seems to work for me. So anyway, this content calendar is just a linked database. Like I mentioned before, we've got content calendar over here. It's one of the main databases that I have in Notion, but I just have it sort of embedded into this page for easy access. I've got a couple different views here. As you can see, this is my Creatorly Media content calendar. The way that I like to plan this out is by having my, what I call cornerstone content, as kind of the header for the week. So this is sort of the theme for the content that week. That includes the blog and the podcast and the email newsletter that are going live that week. And then each day we've got 2 pieces of content at least going live on the Instagram page. So some kind of tweet or like carousel graphic, and then a reel. And I just have these little check boxes to track whether I've completed it or not. So when I'm working on content batching on a given day, I can just work through it. You can see that we've launched our YouTube channel recently. So now each week includes a YouTube video as well. And like I was saying, this is just one view of the content calendar database. So that's the Creatorly Media view. We also have a view for my personal brand, which is blessedly a lot emptier. So I just have one YouTube video a week. That's my current frequency that I'm aiming for. I would probably like to be publishing a little bit more often, but this is what's reasonable for me right now. So this is August. You can see that this is the day that our Notion tour is going live, and I've got that listed here along with my other videos. When I create a new piece of content for the content calendar, obviously I'll just press plus to add an item, and you can see that I've got all kinds of different templates for the different kinds of content that I make. So if I'm planning a YouTube video, I'll just click on the YouTube template, and you can see that it automatically populates to show youtube.com/Katie. That's the platform it's going on, and then I'll just like add the title here. And then I have sort of like a written template already set up for the like body of the page, I guess. So this I actually borrowed from Matt Diavella because I took his course about YouTube content creation, and so he's the one who suggested doing alternate titles and thumbnail ideas, writing an opening, and then having 4 talking points, and then I just have like a shot list on the side. So this helps me have a certain structure for each of my YouTube videos and plan out what I'm going to talk about. Okay, so I don't need that, so I'm just going to delete it. And I also do have a Katie and Dan in a van view, but I don't really use it right now because that is a hobby and life is busy right now. So anyway, that's the content calendar view. I do have another drop down, which you'll see here. So when I'm in the Creatorly Media view, I use this to populate content for an upcoming week. So if I go over to August, you'll see that we've got the first week planned out, but for the rest of the month, it's just YouTube. So what I will do is I'll just drop down on recurring content, and you'll see I've got a template button. So this allows me to create a whole list of essentially database items. So if I click that, you'll see we've got a long list. So like all of the reels, the tweets, the carousel graphic, and the story content for Instagram. So what I'll do is just select it like this, and then I'm just gonna grab it and move it all to the Monday of that week, which looks a little overwhelming at first, but then basically I just click and drag to fill out the content for that week. So I'm gonna put the carousel graphic on Wednesday. We'll add a reel to each day of the week, and I just click and drag like this. And then now I will organize our story content based on when it goes live. And then what I will do separately is I will just add an item, and then I will create our cornerstone content, which this template, as you can see, automatically populates blog, podcast, email, status as not started. And I've got a whole to-do list that helps me work through content batching for the blog post, for the podcast, the email, and Pinterest stuff when I do that. Sometimes I don't remember to. So this will be the theme for the week. I still have to figure out what that's going to be for that week. And then what I like to do is just click and drag and pull it across the whole week, mostly just so that in this view, I can see the full title of whatever the podcast is going to be. That's why I do it for YouTube as well. It's not because we're posting a YouTube video on Wednesday, Friday, Thursday and Friday. I miss Thursday in that. It's just because, you know, you can't read that long of a title if it's just in a singular day's box. Okay, so that is pretty much how I use this content calendar section of my to-do page. So we kind of have like the planner section, the content calendar section, and now we get into the brainstorming or like content planning section. So I'll scroll down past this, and you can see that I've got different sections for different platforms, content ideas. So this is for Creatorly Media. Obviously, we've got a category for YouTube, the podcast, the Instagram, and for the blog. So I really just use this to throw my ideas down. I'm not referencing this on a super frequent basis, but I might come down here and look, when I'm thinking about what should this theme for this, week be, then I can see, okay, well, I have actually already created this, but okay, 3 types of Instagram content that will explode your growth. That was a topic that I had come up with previously, so I might then use that for the podcast that week. So I just kind of keep this here as a little bit of a grab bag for ideas, and when I come up with them, I just throw them in whatever category makes sense. Scrolling down, I've got the same thing for Katie Steckly content ideas. I've got a few different categories that I want to create content about on this channel, and I just throw out any ideas that I come up with and I put them here. And then when I'm planning out a month of YouTube content, again, I can just scroll down here and look at previous ideas that I came up with. So, generally I want to be talking about mental wellness, sustainability, self-development, travel and van life, entrepreneurship. Those are just kind of vague categories because I'm still trying to find my feet with this new approach to my YouTube channel. But I've got just some other helpful notes, like search terms that I can use for vlogs that seem to rank decently well, ideas for different series. I want to do the trying stuff for 30 days kind of thing. I do want to keep doing minimalism content. So anyway, just throw out ideas here when I come up with them, and then I can reference it later when I'm actually planning my content. Then I just have a few YouTube strategy notes. So this is the real behind the scenes of me trying to work away at transitioning my niche a little bit, and the lonely section for ideas for Instagram and TikTok. I've been slacking on that for my personal brand lately because I've been so focused on Creatorly. And finally, we've got Katie and Dan and Devan content ideas. Again, this is a little bit of a lonely section. I don't reference it very often, but when I am focusing on that channel, I kind of have a vague idea of what the next few episodes are going to be about. And finally, we have got to the really less visited bottom section of this page called extras. I don't know. This is just a contract for a brand deal that I just finished up that I've been referencing, several times over a few week period. So it was helpful to have it there. Really just random stuff that doesn't have a better place. And then I do have sponsored content deadlines. Obviously, I'm not referencing that super often these days either. And this inbox, which kind of brings us to the next section of this tour, which is how I use this for my team. So you see that this is connected to the team tasks database. And the reason this is at the bottom is because generally I don't receive tasks to do through this method. But for the rest of my team, this is an essential part of our process for making sure that everybody knows what they're doing. So the way this works is that if somebody adds something to the team tasks database that I am assigned to, it will show up here. And everybody else on my team has a page like this, and they receive their tasks that way. So speaking of that, let me take you over to our tasks dashboard. Organization, productivity, and self-development aren't necessarily things that come naturally to everyone. Thankfully, you can learn about all of these topics and more from the comfort of your couch on Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community that offers thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people on topics including illustration, design, photography, video, freelancing, and even topics around self-development. For example, I have been loving the Ultimate Self-Care Playbook, Discover and Nurture Your Centered Self by Jonathan Van Ness. This course combines Jonathan's magnetic personality with real, tangible takeaways for improving your relationship with yourself. I'd highly recommend checking it out. And you can, because the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description will get a free trial of premium membership on Skillshare so you can explore your creativity and learn something new. So this is basically what we use to create all of our tasks for the teams. We have podcast, Instagram, and YouTube related services. And so the different account managers that I have on my team will come in and create tasks for their particular project they're working on and then assign them to the rest of the team members. So you can see this is basically the full database here, and it's just organized by status. You can see that we've got an assigned column, the date that it's due, the kind of work that it is, the client that it's for, and then just urgency, basically when it's due. Another way of saying that. So that is the tasks dashboard. So that's kind of where we go to create new tasks. We do have this divided into 3 different categories. Again, Instagram, YouTube, and podcast team. So just depending on the kind of projects that you're working on, we have different ways to view these tasks. On the Instagram team page, obviously we have like other important links, client drive links, all that kind of thing. We have an overview of what we're working on each week. So it's just a really easy place for the team to go and check on where we're at in our project process. We also have our internal deadlines listed here on this calendar. So you can kind of see where we're at in our content creation process at any given day. And then Instagram deadlines, Instagram tasks. All of this is the same database. If you're not familiar with Notion, it's all built around databases, just viewed in different ways. So you can see here, like you can choose between these different views, and really you could do this all from one place, but we've just chosen to kind of break it out into different places so that you can view it at the same time, kind of. So you can see with each of our Instagram clients, we've got them organized by client here in this board setup, but you can also view those tasks like I was showing you before on the tasks dashboard, same exact database, but just as a list or as a table rather than as boards. So we have the same kind of thing for YouTube and, like I mentioned, podcasts as well. So that brings me to our client progress tracker. This is another really important component of what we do, and basically it allows us to know at any given time who we're working with, what their project is, what type of client they are, and then pretty much what the status of their work is. So you can see we've got all of our clients listed out here, the account manager that's associated with them, and then we keep up-to-date notes on where we're at with their project so that anybody on the team can come here and know, okay, this is where we're at, with X clients work at the moment. And finally, we've got the content calendar. This is just the same thing again, but this is pretty much just the database view that goes the same for team tasks. Here's the database view. Basically, we operate off of 3 main databases, I would say: team tasks, content calendar, and client progress tracker. And all of those things are then just basically shown in different places on different pages. And that is pretty much my wacky and wild Notion tour. I feel like I'm a little bit chaotic with how I use this. Other people seem to be a bit more organized and kind of on top of the best practices for Notion, but this seems to work really well for us. Hopefully you found this interesting. I really love watching Notion tours because it's fun to see how other people use it and organize their lives. Let me know if you'd want to see more content about Notion or like productivity tips or anything like that. I also hope the audio hasn't been too bad because it has been loud outside this whole time, but your girl's just trying to get her stuff done. As always, I hope that you are having adventures and following your dreams, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.